Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to discuss regarding the functions of management in detail. In the last class we have seen the functions of management are mainly post decor, right? The major functional classification given by Luther Gulick. Post-decor means it's an accepted mnemonic on the functions of management process. That is, first and foremost function is planning, then organizing, staffing, directing, controlling, and reporting and budgeting comes under controlling. Okay, so one by one in detail we can see. Then first function is planning. Planning, we know, is one of the major fundamental element of administration. Plan is a forecast for accomplishing the objectives. It is predetermined course of action. It's a today's projection for tomorrow's activity. That is, it's futuristic action. It's done for future. That is, we are designing in advance what to do, when to do, where to do, how to do, and whom to be get it done, right? Then it's a blueprint of business growth and a roadmap of development of the organization. In planning, decisions are made about what needs to be done, how and when it has to be done, by whom to be done, get it be done, and with what resources. And planning in management process. What's the importance of planning in management process? Planning is an essential process of making choice between available resources or choices or alternatives. Okay? Then the exercise of intelligence to deal with facts and solutions as they find a way to solve problems. An organized, conscious and continual attempt to select the best available alternative to achieve specific goals. Planning is one of the major fundamental elements of administration. Then planning involves predetermined course of action, and it's deliberate and conscious research used to formulate the design and sequence of action through which it's expected to help to reach its desired objectives. Okay, there are various definitions of planning. First definition is given by Benson. According to Benson, planning is defined as predetermining a course of action in order to achieve a desired result. For achieving a desired result or outcome, there should be a predetermined course of action. That is planning. Then, according to Millett, planning is a process of determining the objectives of administrative effort and devising the means calculated to achieve them. Next definition is given by Alford and Beatty. According to them, planning is a thinking process, an organized foresight, a vision based on fact and experience that is required for intelligent action. Okay. There are many other definitions. They are: planning means the determination of what is to be done, how and where it is to be done, who is to do it, and how results are to be evaluated. And planning bridges the gap between where we are to and where we want to go. That is important. Planning bridges the gap between where we are now and where we want to reach. Okay, this is the definition. It's a nice definition given by James Lundy. Then study this definition. Okay, then planning is an intellectual process, the conscious determination of courses of actions, the basis of decisions on purpose, acts and considered estimates. It's a definition given by Kunz O'Donnell. Okay. Next, according to Peter Drucker, planning is a continuous process of making present entrepreneurial decisions systematically and with best possible knowledge of their futurity, organizing systematically the efforts needed to carry out these decisions and measuring the results of these decisions against expectation through organized systematic feedback. So there are so many definitions regarding planning. You study two or three from among them. Okay. Next, we can go to the concept or characteristics of planning. That is, planning is goal-oriented. Goal-oriented means all plans arise from objectives. First, we have to formulate objectives. Then, objectives provide the basic guidelines for planning activities. Next is, planning is primary function. Then, for in any organization or if a manager or administrator has an idea to develop or formulate an organization or institution, the first function is planning for that. The idea of primacy of planning emphasizes the fact that planning precedence over other managerial functions like organizing, directing, controlling, because none of these functions can come into being until there is a plan, right? So, നമ്മൾ ഇതെല്ലാം പ്ലാൻ ചെയ്താൽ മാത്രമേ നെക്സ്റ്റ് ഫംഗ്ഷനായ ഓർഗനൈസിങ്, ഡയറക്റ്റിംഗ്, കൺട്രോളിങ് എല്ലാം വരുന്നുള്ളൂ. സോ എല്ലാ ഫംഗ്ഷനും ഫസ്റ്റ് എല്ലാ തിങ്സും എല്ലാ ഓർഗനൈസേഷനും നമ്മൾ സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പ് ചെയ്യുന്നതിന് മുമ്പായിട്ട് ഈ ഫസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യേണ്ട ഒരു ആക്ടിവിറ്റി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് പ്ലാനിങ് ഫോർ ദാറ്റ്. ഓക്കെ. Next concept is planning is all pervasive. Pervasiveness means something having tendency to spread. That is pervasiveness. It's needed and practiced at all managerial levels. In the last classes, I have already said there is top managers, middle managers, first line or operative management. So, the top managers will set the objectives and will scan the environment and will make the decisions. Whereas the middle managers allocate the resources, then oversee first line managers, report to top management, then develop and implement activities. Whereas the operative management or first line managers coordinate the activities, then report to middle managers, involves day-to-day activities and supervise the employees. Okay. So, planning is to be done in all levels. Then, planning is a mental exercise. Means it's a mental process, thinking process. Then, involving imagination and it's futuristic. So, foresight and sound judgment. Then, planning is a continuous process. Once plans for a specified period are prepared, they are translated into action. At the end of that period, there is need for a new plan to be drawn based on new situations and conditions. So, the planning principle of flexibility should be applied there. Planning is flexible because we are planning for the future, and we know future is not set on a stone, right? That is why with adapting plans to suit uncertain future or changing environment, we are planning. Then, in the case of long-term plans, the flexibility principle of flexibility of error can be occurred in case of long-term plans. Next is planning involves choice. That is, a manager would select the best alternatives after careful analysis and evaluation. Then, planning is forward-looking. It means peeping into future analyzing it and preparing for it. And already said planning is flexible. That I have said future, we are planning for the future. So future is not set on a stone. And since future is uncertain, plans should be reasonably flexible. Then planning is an integral process. That is, plans are structured in a logical ways wherein every lower plan serves as a means to accomplish higher level plans. Then planning includes efficiency and effectiveness dimensions. That is, plans aim at deploying resources economically and efficiently. The effectiveness of plans is usually dependent on how much it can contribute to the predetermined objectives. So these are the concepts and characteristics of plan. The planning arises the questions, that is, where we are now. This question is concerned with making a realistic assessment of the our current situation and forecasting how the picture may change in the future. Then next question is, where do we want to be, or where do we want to reach? This is concerned with the findings of the desirable objectives, keeping the present as well as future requirements in our mind. Next is the gap. Already we have said planning bridges the gap between where we are and where we want to reach. That is, what is the amount of difference between where we are now and where we want to reach or want to be. And next is, how can we get there from here? This is a question of deciding in the present what has to be done in the future. For reaching there, what we have to do now. Then planning is concerned with future implication of current decisions, not with decisions to be made in the future. Okay, then importance of planning. Planning is, what is the importance of planning? Why we are planning? Planning is a goal-oriented element of management that leads to achievement of goals and objectives. Planning pervades all management functions or elements and is basic to all functions. Planning process is the basis for all other managerial functions, that is organizing, staffing, directing and controlling functions. Planning provides for effective use of available resources and facilities. And planning is based on facts and events. Planning is an intellectual process of thinking in advance. That is, forward-looking and encourages innovations or changes and creativity. Planning is a process that involves selection of suitable course of action from alternative choices. Then it's based on past and future activities. Considering the past, we are planning for the future, and planning gives meaning to work and helps managers to express their creativity. Planning is cost effective. Planning is continuous activity which provides facilities to achieve coordination within different departments of organization. Planning process is flexible to meet the new challenges and changing situations. It provides a basis for control. It leads to the realization of the need for change. Planning involves the ability to foresee the effects of current actions in the future. These are the main importance of planning. Next is the purposes of planning. Purpose means why we are planning. Why we are planning in advance.